Walmart workers of Reddit, what's some crazy Walmart stuff that has gone down during your shift? Back about 8 years ago when I still worked at Wally World in a small 99.7% white farm town in Hicksville, Michigan, around 2 a.m., 6 or 7 black guys came in and I was working in the aisle with all the canned fruit. They seemed lost, so when they got close I did my usual "can I help you guys find anything?" and they told me they were looking for chips and cookies. We had just remodeled, so it was understandable they could not find that aisle. So I walked them over to where the snacks now were. When we got to the cookies they very loudly kept saying "dang dog, you're the N" over and over again for helping them. Very awkward, but still the greatest compliment I ever received in my 4 years working for that crap hole. Dang dog, you're the N ninja. A woman asked me to help her find something, so I start walking her over there. We start walking by the toy section when I see 2 kids, 10-13 if I had to guess, playing with plastic lightsabers. They were hitting each other hard enough to actually dent the plastic, so I had to step in. I shake my head and was about to go tell them to chill out when our secret shopper security chick walks over to them and shouts, "You two, get the frick out of my store." The kids look around like she might have been talking to 2 other people. She shouts, "Go at them again," and one turns to leave, but the other starts walking towards me. I do the panicked deer in headlights face. Then I realize that he is walking up to the woman I was helping. He says "Mom," and the woman just replies, "You heard her. Get out. I'll meet you in the car." I realize that the secret shopper might have gone a little too far screaming the word frick at children, unless there was more to the story. But that mom is amazing. Very few parents would recognize that their kids are being destructive. I worked as a merchandiser, third-party contractor, and would spend 75% of my working time in Walmart. One evening, 12:02 a.m., I was trying to get an early shelf reset because the next morning was going to be a large rodeo. Did not want to deal with traffic. Walked into the bathroom and saw a guy attempt to shoot up H. We made eye contact. I backed up out of the bathroom and went home. Saw the mother picture catastrophic, world-ending meltdown over the price of milk. It had increased by 3 or 4 cents. She was very upset. Got kicked out of the store. A high school kid was shot lifting a bag of chips. The shift manager, second in command, who was an archaic individual, essentially detained the kid, called the cops. I kid you not. 3 police cars arrive at Walmart to haul this kid off to juvenile court. Was working my freight when the beer companies showed up. The new guy was learning how to working the motorized pallet jack. Got the hang of it. Then they didn't and crashed $5,000 worth of beer in the back room. It was in the heat of summer and it smelled for weeks. He did not last long. On my first week I placed a pallet up against a wall for an hour and started working freight. Apparently this is an OSHA violation. Upon going to the back room, the entire management staff, the zoning managers, the backroom manager and my boss were all huddled around this pallet like it was a bonfire jamboree. I can see someone getting sent to juvenile court for stealing chips. When I worked at Walmart, they said that they would press charges for theft even if you stole a $98 chapstick. So, I sell cell phones at Walmart, and this is the story of my most memorable customer. Lady comes in a few months back wanting to reload her prepaid phone. No big deal, I thought. I do 10 of these a day. I start to ring her up, and it's then that I start to realize her behavior is a little off. She's shifting her weight from foot to foot, fidgeting with her cash, and generally can't keep still. All the while, she's demeaning herself, calling herself stupid, saying that she couldn't possibly figure out how this process is supposed to work, and as such, I must be sent by God, literally an angel wrapped in light, to help her to reload her phone. Okay, I thought to myself that's a little odd, but I live in a very religious part of the country, and didn't think much about it. After having finished checking her out, we go to make the phone call to restore service to her phone. She starts going on about how I need to please hurry, because she is going to need to get home and pray over her cell phone because the enemy is inside it. At this point, I'm making you see in this crap eyes to my co-worker, who just kinda stands there smirking, glad they're not the ones dealing with this crap. There's some minor hold up with restoring service, so we have to sit on hold to talk to someone to resolve it. She's just sitting there, rocking back and forth almost hysterically upset, and near the verge of tears, by the fact it's taking so long, when in reality it couldn't have been more than 10 minutes. She finally gets so terribly aggravated that she comes up behind me to see what I'm doing on the phone, and is so close to me that I can freaking feel her breath on my neck. Like some freaking Godzilla's atomic fire breath level of socially awkward and uncomfortable. Anyway, we finally, 2 minutes later, get her phone back on, and she gives me a huge hug, thanks me profusely and leaves. Nice enough lady, really. The entire time I am waiting for it to be revealed that she was the victim of abuse and needed the phone to call for help. Nope, just socially awkward. Worked at Sam's Club. We have a section where we keep security systems for homes. One of them has this absolutely brain-killing loop that plays on a TV above it. It's the typical man, wife, and kid's story and how the thing has changed their lives. One day, while working in the area, a customer comes in and starts checking out the system with the loop. I answered some questions for him, but I noticed something was off and I just couldn't figure out what it was. After the guy walked away, I was straightening up the aisle and happened to look into the loop for a split second. Holy mother of crap. The customer I was helping looked exactly like the fake husband in the commercial. He came back later and I pointed it out to some of my colleagues. It was crazy as heck. Used to work at Walmart. A guy came in, walked back to hardware, picked up a ladder and went straight to the service desk with it trying to get a refund on it. Haha. Probably because Walmart sometimes does store credit if no receipt is there. No wonder they started using more greeters to stick up PPL returning items. I once saw a woman tow in like 5 kids to get a few things. The oldest one was maybe 7-8 years old, walking around with her. She had 2 toddlers in the cart, a younger baby in the seat in the front, and another little girl maybe 4-year-old out of the cart. I was working self-checkout at the time, and she was getting her few items. She had been yelling and smacking them throughout the store. I can assume, because I could hear her yelling and saw her smack one of her kids when she came in. But anyway, self-checkout was basically empty. 8 machines and maybe 3 including her using one. Her little girl outside of the cart was playing with the empty machines, not being harmful, or I would have said something. So the girl didn't listen when the mom screamed the first time, so she kicked the little girl's legs out from under her and the little girl fell face first into one of the machines. The mom then yelled at her that she should have listened and put her in the cart with the other kids. I immediately went to management, who said they could do nothing. They could have called the cops. I couldn't, but take down the time so they could prove her wrong with tapes if she tried to sue. TLDR. Woman kicked the legs out from under her maybe 4-year-old daughter, and that made the little girl fall into a self-checkout machine face first. Also, there was a salon in our store behind the self-checkout. One day a man came in to get his hair cut, and next thing I know one of the stylists is coming up to me asking to call security. I do. Turns out the man was masturbating to a woman cutting his hair and the woman locked herself in the bathroom. The man paid for his unfinished haircut and left. They did catch him. Also, many heroin overdoses in the bathrooms of our store. Great place. Sorry for any mistakes. I'm on mobile. I'd like to kick the legs out from under that mom and watch her slam into the checkout face first. I was told how to apply for welfare within a week of starting the job there. It was a second job for me, so I didn't qualify, but most of my co-workers were on food stamps and daycare assistance, housing assistance. Yeah, the US government indirectly subsidizes the wage expenditures of Walmart, as their employees almost never earn wages above the poverty line and qualify for welfare. What great jobs this wonderful, socially and environmentally conscious corporation provides to the world economy. Kid came in at about 2 AM with a hoodie on and a backpack. He hung around until the person working electronics was occupied, and then attempted to cut a cell phone out of its plastic shell. He was in a hurry, and he cut himself on the jagged plastic trying to pull the phone out. He walked towards the bathroom in the back, but presumably decided against going in because he was leaving a trail of blood behind him. He walked through fabrics and crafts and wiped his hand on several rolls of fabric, then proceeded to walk around the edge of the store, covering random things with blood, presumably for the heck of it. He walked into the bathroom in the front and washed his hands, then left. He was caught because the backpack he was wearing was for a nearby college, and his face was clearly visible on the camera. It took 3 associates almost 2 hours to clean up the blood he left behind and to dutifully look over everywhere he went as to not leave bloody items on the shelf. He ruined almost $500 worth of goods. Oh, and he never got the cell phone. I'm a meat processor at a Sam's Club, and you'll have people put raw meat in the stupidest places. The freezer's a classic, but I love it when people decide they don't want their pork loin they just had meticulously sliced and they just throw it in with the potatoes. A kid had just started his first day as a cashier and he had trouble working the register. The customer got really pissed off at how long he was taking and cursed the kid out and then spits in his face. The guy just walked off as everyone stared and the kid cried. Another time 2 white guys came in asking every Hispanic if they knew where the burritos were and they were laughing and giving high fives when they told them where they were. Also, the manager hired this other guy who later told me that he and the manager were having an affair and their wives didn't know. I called bulls thinking he was messing with me and then showed me a picture on his phone of them kissing. The guy ended up ratting on several employees for being lazy or on their phones and got them fired. After a few months I had it with that place. They were extremely disorganized and irresponsible that it was a miracle that the store even functioned. Abuse was the only thing the managers did well. It was as though they were competing with the customers to see which of them could make us feel more like trash. The day I quit, this old lady and her daughter showed up with 5 carts full of food. I worked at the garden center and people think it's faster to pay there, so a lot of people pile up, and so I had a huge line of people waiting behind her. She's having a conversation with the daughter and is loading up her groceries and I scan 2 carts almost. She then says, "Who told you to start scanning? I'm gonna price match. You're usually supposed present an ad," but instead she hands me 5 pages of tiny, illegible, red handwriting. She wants me to take out all the items from the 20-some bags and rescan them and then find them on one of the 5 pages and price match. I tell her she's supposed to bring an ad from the store and that I can't price match her stuff. So then she makes a call to someone cause she's P. The line of people is furious at both of us. My co-worker says, "Dude, just do it, she's here every week," and the manager makes us do it anyway. So as I press the button to restart the purchase and to take off the scanned items from the register, the piece of crap freezes. Then the store manager shows up and turns out the lady is his freaking aunt and he's mad too. Everyone is staring at me. I'm drenched and wet. The machine is frozen. Too many items in bags to rescan. 3 carts left to scan. 5 pages I can't read. And a huge freaking line. I called her a B and walked out the entrance 20 feet from us and went home. My phone then gets like 10 voicemails from my manager. I don't even listen to them and I just delete. Finally it was over. Frick all that. I would have done the same thing. This list could go on forever. I was a manager at the Walmart I worked at for about 2 years. One day this lady came in. She was regular so everyone kind of knew her. She decided to walk up to me and say my husband is stealing tons of toys in the children's section. I laughed it off until she kept looking at me with no smirk at all and I realized she wasn't lying. She told me they've been fighting the whole day and he's pissed her off. I went to the back and looked at the cameras and saw this guy stuffing tons of toys down his pants. I couldn't believe this, so I called up the store manager and they brought him into the office and banned only him in the store. He cried and said sorry and we never saw him again. Also, some old guy used to sit at the entrance and touch himself not so secretly when chicks would walk in. I'm imagining him trying to walk with a pool noodle down each pant leg. 10 black chicks, 2 black guys came in the store. 2 got into argument about one of the black dudes and it turned into a 10-girl brawl. Titties and all that came out and my manager just sat there trying to de-escalate with no success. Nobody was caught, they got away before the cops came. Couple got caught fricking in the family restroom. Forgot to lock door and another employee walked in on them. Local drug addict walked out with 3 50-inch TVs without being noticed. Chick tried walking out with a cart full of groceries, it didn't work so she made a run for it, had a car outside waiting for her and all overnight shift. I'll let you in on a secret, the couple didn't forget to lock the door. I worked night shift stocking for one summer during college. There was once a couple that came in the night before bamboozles started and they wandered around the store for 6 out of the 8 hours I was there and they were high as frick. The woman kept asking me about which baby wipes would be best to take with her to the festival, and she would pick stuff up and carry it around for a while and just set them down in random places. Another time I was hit on by a man while I was on my way to the restroom. He called me mammy and he had a greasy jerry curl and the largest case of Natty Light that we sold. I hung out in the bathroom for a while after that because I was super uncomfortable. And I was also surprised by how many people will take infants shopping at 11 PM. Newborns nurse every 2 to 4 hours. Sometimes it's nicer to hit up Walmart at night where you only have to dodge pallets instead of rude people, especially if the baby is going to be awake and keeping you awake anyways. Now when the child is old enough to sleep through the night, that's when you're trying to finally catch up on your sleep also, so late night Walmart trips are out. I was working the service desk and had gone on break. When I came back, I saw a puddle of red on the floor in front of the desk. We were trying to figure out what it was when I see it's coming from a box on the counter. This box was one of the old school stereo system boxes. This happened about 15 years ago, and so we opened it. The girl who was covering my brake pipes up, oh, that got brought back by a guy who says it doesn't work. He's exchanging it for a new one. Inside the box is a defrosting turkey, a duffel bag of old nasty clothes, and a case of beer. Just as we start pulling stuff out, the guy came up to the counter, sees us looking at the box and takes off. So not only did he not get a new stereo, but he lost a turkey and case of beer for nothing. I like to imagine he was using such a random assortment of things in the box so that it weighed the same, like he thought he was being extra smart. One of the managers made a copy of their key to the cash office and let her boyfriend rob it. Got quite a bit of money. Got caught not only because she made the key at the store, but boyfriend didn't have a job and they both got new cars right after the robbery. Kinda had a similar situation but cash person. Don't know if it was manager. Took a bundle of cash then left. Never came back. Police arrested him at his house. I worked in the meat section for a while. I could kind of see down the cereal aisle out of my workspace. One day I saw a 55-ish guy on a rascal scooter coming down the aisle with only a half gallon of milk with him. He proceeded to grab a box of Fruity Pebbles, open it up, open the milk, and pour it into the cereal. He then started to drink each cereal out of the box while milk and Fruity Pebbles flowed down the sides of his face. He slowly began scooting around, periodically supping from his box of cereal. I didn't say anything because I didn't care, and secondly, I found him inspirational. Later I found the half-finished, milk-soaked box stuffed in a coffin freezer while I was restocking. That made me regret not calling the butthole out. A milk-soaked box stuffed in a coffin freezer while I was restocking. That made me regret not calling the butthole out. On the bright side, at least he put it in the freezer. Better than putting a milk-soaked box hidden in the clothing section for it to go sour and rot. Ex-employee here. Had a code red. Someone had set a rack of clothes on fire. As I'm trying to usher customers out of the garden shop exit, one of the assistant managers comes up with her mom and asks me to ring them out really quick. Had an employee come through my line trying to steal everything she could get her hands on. She had 3 purses over her shoulder, items stuffed into big bags of Halloween candy, UPC stickers from 25 cents, votive candles stuck to pricey electronics, etc. I guess though I wouldn't notice. She hands me her employee discount card and I ask for her ID, then call security. Had a special needs lady that would get dumped at the store by family every day. She would just wander around and shop for hours. If she did have anything in her buggy, she'd pay for it, but then would go to the service desk and return it all. She wasn't a huge problem, just kind of odd and a nuisance bothering customers and employees all day. The store wanted to kick her out but didn't know how. They finally got her one day as she got a cup at the snack bar but don't pay for it before taking a drink. Banned her from the store for stealing. Had a department manager in the photo lab that would get pedicures on the clock and then take 3-hour lunches. Had us clean photo processing equipment with SOS pads. Big problem. Is gritty and throws off the chemicals. Would send us home early because the district manager was telling he to cut hours. He wasn't. And she'd get pictures that co-workers had sent out to be processed and show them to all the employees. Her favorite. The gay couple in Produce that like to cross-dress in their private time. I hate Walmart. Some lady came in determined to buy peanuts for her squirrel. She wanted unsalted peanuts but we only had salted. She freaked out and picked up several bags and started chucking them at my head. Got yelled at by a middle-aged man because I didn't know what clothing size his toddler wears. Someone tried to buy 45 frozen turkeys on Christmas Eve 30 minutes before closing. We only had about 9 left. Thankfully she was civil about it. Yelled at for not having snowsuits in the summer. Yelled at for not having swimsuits in the winter. One of my co-workers got fired for stealing a pre-made salads from Produce every single day for his lunch. It took them 3 months to notice. I was actually very surprised not to find swimsuits for women at Walmart this December in a St. Augustine, Florida near the ocean. They did have men's swimming shorts, but not women's swimsuits. I did not yell thought. I used to push carts for them. I've found a used condom in the cart. And I've also found a grocery bag with a half-eaten rotisserie chicken in it. I know because when I lifted the bag to throw it away, the bag ripped open and what I assume was milk in the bag also spilled all over the cart. You must know it wasn't milk. Work night crew out of high school. Hunting department had compound bows, arrows and targets. We used to set them up in the aisle and shoot them. The bows didn't have sights on them. We missed a lot. Pallet jack races in the back room. Cherry tomato fights in the produce section. The best part about that job was we had a co-worker that collected toys. He knew all the valuable Hot Wheels, starting lineup figures etc, so we'd go through all the boxes and hide the good stuff till we could pay for it. The best part about that job was we had a co-worker that collected toys. He knew all the valuable Hot Wheels, starting lineup figures etc, so we'd go through all the boxes and hide the good stuff till we could pay for it. You and your ilk are the reason I can't find any freaking Transformers for months after their street date. There used to be this young woman who, about once a week, would come in, browse the clothing, and try clothes on. Not unusual. Expect she would just do it there. Take her shirt off, stand in her bra, put the shirt on, see how it fit, and repeat the process multiple times. She had a nice set of boobs so that helped. It was a secret amongst the workers. When she walked in there would be a whisper campaign and even oblique calls over the walkie-talkies that she was in. We'd then totally stealthily stand around and wait until the show started. Even the women got in on it. We tried our very best to not let management know. There is absolutely no way she didn't know half the workers in the store were staring at her tea. Sadly, one day she stopped and would just be a normal shopper. We strongly suspect a manager found out and intervened. Worked at Walmart for 2 months when I was in high school. One Saturday afternoon, I was finishing my shift and actually telling my co-workers bye when a customer walked into my department. He bent over and vomited all over the floor before turning around without saying a word and leaving. My shift was scheduled to end at 6 PM and it was 6:01 PM. But guess who had to clean it up? Frick Walmart. A former colleague of mine got caught boosting a few $100s worth of Pokemon cards from Walmart while he was taking a client on an outing. We cared for disabled people. I never found out if he hid product on the client's person or wheelchair, but I had to bring a second van to the store and pick my client up while the police took my co-worker to jail. Crap like this is why I don't touch trading card games. I used to watch him flip through expansion packs and go from unfathomable frustration to complete elation. It's like watching a junkie finding product in their bag. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.